You said yes again. You knew you didn't want to. You felt it in your chest the moment they asked. That familiar tightening. That quiet dread. But still, you heard yourself say, yeah, sure, no problem. And now you're lying awake at 11 p.m., doing something you never wanted to do for someone who probably won't even notice the effort. You've canceled your own plans for this. You've skipped rest for this. You've shrunk yourself again for this. And the worst part? You're not even angry at them. You're angry at yourself because you knew, you always know, and you still can't stop. This isn't about being nice. This is something much deeper than that. Before we go further, if this is you, there is nothing wrong with you, not even a little. The part of you that can't say no isn't weak. It isn't people-pleasing for attention. It isn't a character flaw you were born with. It is a pattern your brain built, carefully, quietly, to keep you safe in environments where saying no felt dangerous. Your brain did this for you. That's important to understand. For many people who struggle to say no, it starts very early. You were a child who learned, through experience, that keeping the peace was survival. Maybe the adults around you were unpredictable. Maybe love felt conditional. Maybe conflict, even small conflict, ended badly. So your nervous system made a decision. Agreement is safety. Disapproval is danger. That belief didn't stay in childhood. It followed you into school, into friendships, into relationships, into your career. And now, decades later, your body still responds to a simple request the same way it responded back then. With urgency, with fear, with the overwhelming need to fix the discomfort in the other person before you can breathe again. This is called fawn response. It's what happens when a nervous system learns that appeasement is protection. It looks like kindness from the outside, but on the inside, it's exhaustion. Here's the part that most people never talk about. Saying no doesn't just feel uncomfortable for you. For some people, it feels like a threat to their entire identity. Because somewhere along the way, being needed became who you are. Being helpful became your value. Being the person who always shows up, always says yes, always comes through. That became the story you told yourself about why people love you. And if you say no, you don't just lose the request. You lose the version of yourself that felt worthy. Even for a moment, it feels like, what if they stopped needing me? What if they stopped choosing me? This isn't logic. This is attachment. The anxious kind. The kind that whispers that your value is conditional on your usefulness. So saying yes isn't really about them. It's about protecting yourself from the unbearable feeling of feeling like not enough. And this is where it gets interesting, because people who can't say no are often the most perceptive people in the room. You spent years, your whole life maybe, reading people, watching micro-expressions, noticing the slight shift in someone's tone, feeling the temperature of a room before anyone else does. You developed emotional radar that most people don't have, because you had to. When you grow up in an environment where the mood of the people around you determines your safety, you become exceptionally good at anticipating what people need before they ask. You learn to fix the problem before it became a problem. That skill kept you safe once. Now it keeps you exhausted. But it's not a flaw. It's intelligence that was trained for the wrong environment. There's also something happening at a deeper level. Saying no requires tolerating discomfort. Someone's disappointment, their frustration, the silence after you decline, the awkward pause on a call. For people who grew up in emotionally unpredictable homes, that silence isn't just silence. It carries weight. It carries old memories. It triggers a body that learned to interpret disapproval as abandonment. So saying yes is, in a very real way, a regulation tool. It immediately reduces anxiety. It restores a feeling of connection. It makes the emotional environment feel manageable again. It's like pulling a blanket over yourself in the middle of something cold and uncomfortable. It works. Immediately, every time. The problem isn't that it doesn't work. The problem is the cost. The slow, quiet erosion of your time, your energy, your sense of self. The resentment that builds without a name. The exhaustion you can't explain. And as you get older, something shifts. In your teens and 20s, saying yes feels generous, virtuous even. You feel like a good friend, a reliable person, someone people can count on. There's identity in that. There's belonging. But in your late 20s, your 30s, something starts to crack. The yes start to feel hollow. The tiredness becomes harder to ignore. You start noticing that the people you're always available for aren't always available for you. And a quiet, uncomfortable question starts forming. Am I being kind? Or am I just afraid? That question is not a crisis. That question is growth. That's your nervous system starting to feel safe enough to ask something it couldn't ask before. Here's the truth about people who can't say no. They're not pushovers. They're not Doormats. They are people who learned, in real and valid circumstances, that keeping others comfortable was a price of connection, that shrinking was safer than standing, that being needed was the only way to be sure of being loved. That belief made sense once. It made complete sense. And the fact that you're still running it isn't weakness. It's loyalty to a version of yourself that needed protecting in a time when protection looked like agreement. You don't need to fix that part of you. You just need to understand it. Because the moment you understand why you say yes, it starts to lose a little of its power. Not immediately, not all at once, but slowly something shifts. You start to realize that you were never as replaceable as your fear told you. You were never as fragile as the silence made you feel. And the people who are truly meant to stay, they don't leave when you have limits. They stay because of who you are, not because of what you give. If this resonated with you, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this. And subscribe if you want to understand yourself a little better every week. I'll see you in the next one.